Jerry's fault that I'm here. I'm starting with this image because you see him now successful. He hasn't always been this successful. I caught him back behind my studio one time. He was going through a bit of a rough patch. That's over with. So a little bit background. My father, this is a portrait I did in junior college. So that's him at 85-ish, something like that. And then when he was probably 50. Anyway. He was an artist, creative director, worked at some big studios downtown Chicago, and really was a big influence in my career. And taught me a lot about business, and basically taught me a lot about how to handle shitty clients that didn't pay. Being Italian. So he taught me a lot, and he lived the madman lifestyle in Chicago, the 3 martini lunches and all that, and worked with some people from all around the world on the National Accelerator Laboratory outside of Chicago, smashing the atoms. So anyway, that's where I get my little bit of his artistic ability. My mama, that's where I get the passion for the food and cooking and just life in general. Her family was Sicilian, is Sicilian. My dad was Northern Italian. And that's a mixed marriage, if you know what I mean. So, Pacino, the studio dog, photo bomber. So anyway, that's the studio. I bought an old crack house off of Magnolia. Completely gutted it. Took about 16 months. And this is where I live and shoot. And it's a fun, creative space to be in. And okay, so people always ask me what's your favorite subject to shoot or style or whatever, and it's like, I don't really have food probably, and then industrial, and I'll show you a few images later, but I've always felt if you can light something or see light, you can shoot anything. You should be able to. So I did these 3, I meant to put them together, but whether it's a landscape, food, squid ink pasta, or a portrait, they all kind of have the same feel, at least to me they do. So that's kind of my style, or that's just, if I have a style, that's a style. And he's a martial out of Colonial, and he saw me, and that's another thing I had to learn, and I'll talk about, is just, because I've cut my teeth in Chicago working at a big portrait catalog studio. So I did product work for most of my career, early part of my career. Through Cranston Studio, shooting for Sears and Spiegels and all these companies. And then getting tired of the winter, we had 84 below one winter with the wind chill, and I said, I'm going back to Texas. Because I grew up in Chicago, moved to Texas, went back to Chicago, came back to Texas. So it was always product. Well, then when I went out on my own, I had to learn, I got to shoot everything if I want to survive and live and pay the mortgage. So I had to learn how to work with people in public, shooting Main Street Arts Festival with different clients. That was big for me because I was extremely bashful. Still am. That I'm up here is just blowing my mind. So learning to work and see things differently than product work. And so just working with, seeing these little faces and capturing that moment was just a long learned. My thumb's shaking so bad I can't hit the buttons. But just seeing these and learning to wait, which is patience, and that has never been a big virtue of mine. Jerry knows that from the golf course. But this little girl, I saw her and her parents were these cool kind of hippie people, and the mom had the dreadlocks, and she had it kind of going on. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to hang out here for a while. I felt kind of weird, but I was stalking this little girl, but I mean, look at her. So they were waiting in line for the face painting. So then I saw what was going on, so I went and got in position. It's just like, and this is years and years of having to learn how to see something that's about to happen. And she gave me this quick, what are you doing? And I always ask the parents if I can shoot, because when I was backstage with what do they call it, Ballet Folklorica, there was another photographer back there who, it was just weird. So and like this was for American Airlines with one of their employees, and we'd go around the country shooting their health benefit stuff and working with this kid. Plus, a piece of work, he was hysterical, but I mean, look at that face. The mom was beautiful, and I don't name a lot of my images, but this one's just called Joy. I mean, look at his face. And what a sweet kid. And I guess when there really is no theme to what I'm showing you today other than how I've had to adapt my career and learn how to shoot different things. And thank God it's still a passion at my age. I've been around since the early Jurassic period. And I mean, I used to shoot 11 by 14 film for Spiegels, for jewelry. A double truck spread was one shot. With the bi-post cameras, I mean, it was an all-day deal. And halfway through, the film would fall out of the film holder, or one of your rings would fall over. Damn it, you got to start all over. But, so to get to where shooting digital now, I went into it kicking and screaming. I wanted to shoot film the rest of my life. Now you can't pay me to shoot film. But just because it opens up so much more creative avenues. There's another one of that same group, a different year. But this was all, so then, okay, Jerry alluded to the colonial stuff, which I had no idea how to shoot golf. I played the game, but I didn't know how to shoot. It was one of my very first accounts on my own. And had no idea what I was doing, but over the years, I've kind of learned where to be on the course and what position to be in. But what I was going to talk about is like, I shoot everything like it's a portrait, whether it's golf, whether it's food, whether it's obviously a portrait. You just, if you look at everything like it's a portrait, and you know, and you can light it, it's kind of all the same to me. Food, faces, action shots. So these are just a few from Colonial. I've been blessed to be out here for, this will be 30 years. I've been out there longer than most of these guys have been alive. This was the year, COVID year, when they shut down all the sports. And Colonial was the first tournament back. And there was nobody out there. There was 5 photographers. I was allowed to be out there 2 days, Friday and championship day, Sunday. And so all the players came out. Rory has never played Colonial until that year. I mean, they were all there. So it was fun to be out there that year. And this is an image I wanted to get of him just because I'm a big fan of his. This is Ricky Fowler again. That's just him waiting in the fairway for his caddy, but it's kind of looking at it more as a fashion shot. So, with the porn stash. Maybe one of my all-time favorite Colonial images. Is that not great? In all honesty, I did not see those faces when I took the shot. Because I was, do any of you guys go out to Colonial?
Yeah.
So you know the 13th hole, the par 3, the party hole?
Party hole.
I was on the far side of the green, and these ladies were on the ropes on the other side. So the pros and the caddies come down and then they walk on the green. So this is another one that I've named Lust for Pro. I did not see those faces until I got on the computer and I went, oh my God, I could not have set this up. You know, I mean, is that not, that's just, I think we can just end it right here. Anyway. And then again, you know, my advertising career comes out with some images. I know a lot of you have seen these a million times, and I apologize because I post these on social media. But this, I try to get the branding, the naming, you know, kind of give some location to the image. And when it's, you know, Jordan Spieth, how do you go wrong, right? Super nice guy, by the way. A lot of them are not.
They are?
Well, some of them are. This guy I've always wanted to photograph. I mean, his eyes.
Yeah.
I kind of have a man crush on him. Tommy Fleetwood, he's English, and all the shots I get, he's got these piercing blue eyes. And for 2 or 3 years, he would commit to the tournament and then wouldn't show up, and I was just broken hearted. My boyfriend, yeah. So finally showed up, and we still haven't got the courage to talk to him or ask him out. But. So this is another one, just being in the right place. One of the biggest pricks on tour. So, Ian Coulter and his caddy, the hole was going this way, and I was on the side, but they were talking about the wind, but they're looking like they're right at me. So it was just, and a lot of things, you know, years ago I would have been too embarrassed to take the picture. But it was him, so I didn't care. Okay, this might be one of my favorite shots without a golfer ever. And that was, again, all these years of learning where to be. This is on the second hole. And that's Scott Scheffler, who just won last week. I saw him go down in the bunker on number 2, and it's deep, and I thought, oh, this is going to be cool. So I was able to focus on this grass here and just waited, and then look back and said, okay. I mean, I couldn't, again, you just got to get lucky sometimes. And perpendicular club, the ball. Where are we? Okay, so now we're going to get into stuff that makes me a little emotional. Portraits that just have meaning to me. Here we go. So all these pictures, these are people with cancer. Like when I did Bob, well, he's a photographer here, Bob Guarneri, some of you may know him. When I did this, I didn't know he had cancer, but that's Bob. And that's, again, just, you know, what a great face. I just love finding faces. And when I asked Bob to sit for me, he was a little apprehensive, but I think he liked it. So this was a friend of mine, Katrina. She lost her battle with cancer. But this picture means the world to me. And but this is the kind of stuff that I shoot for free. Like this next series, I'm probably going to try. Quick background, we were told our son had neuroblastoma when he was 2.5. He didn't. But fast forward 15 years later, GCG approaches me, go into a meeting, had no idea what it was about. And they said, we're doing this project, neuroblastoma. It's like, you know. Anyway, so through tears, I told the story of our son and said, I'll do the project pro bono. I just want to get, because when it all happened with our son, I said, I've got to find a way to give back to Cook Children's, to the community, to everything. And then, so that's this next series. This was one of the first day we shot. A family had lost their son, and they put the grave marker out. And the shoot, we were done with the shoot. This little girl did not want her picture taken. So I'm putting the camera away, and I see her over there, and everybody's kind of looking at me, and she was just over there on her phone looking at the tombstone. I said, nobody move. And so I got this one shot. And it's just, I mean, you could just see in her face. These next shots, this is Sam, and I hope to God he's still alive. He was battling neuroblastoma at this time, and he was tired, he was going through chemo, but his family, and he agreed to do the portrait. So these three happened in a matter of about a minute. And I was just thankful that I had the cable release in my hand. I was talking to the mom or whoever, and just because he was getting tired, I said, Sam, take a break. This next one, if my career ended after this image, I'd be a happy camper. And this one, unscripted. This little brother came over and kissed him on the head. And thank God I saw it. I mean, this one if this defined my career, I'm done. I'm good. There's just so much emotion here. This might be my other favorite. A little Easter egg head and the hair. But these brothers loved each other. And probably the series and the job that has meant the most to me through my entire career, no matter what I do since. Nothing can top this. All right, something on a little more fun, food, right? Just finding art and shape and color in food, and this was a long, slow process. And what started it was when I first lost my job at Radio Shack. Am I okay on time here?
Yeah, no, you're great. You're great.
So,
you can tell more stories.
I was there for 8 years. As Brian can attest, probably some of the worst years of my life. But so I got fired, and I had to go make a living. I had a son, a mortgage, a wife, and all this. So I ended up assisting around Dallas, and I ended up assisting this photographer. I won't say his name, but he was just a big jerk, and he didn't know how to light. And he was making hundreds of thousands of dollars with a softbox here and a field card here. And I went, and I was mopping his toilets for $100 a day, and I went, okay, I can do this. So that's what started the food photography thing in me. It's like, I love food. I was just learning how to cook, you know, and just getting into all that. And so anyway, so here's just, I feel like I got my neighbors hostage with my vacation slides. Here we are. And, so this is just, you know, sometimes I just want to do a test shot or play around, so you go buy an octopus and see what you can do. Why not, right? Yeah, and then you eat them, you know. I can't eat all my models. That did not sound good at all. So, sorry. Way too early for this. I got another one, just, went and bought some fish, and photographers get bored, so. Because sadly, now this was for a job, this was with Jimmy, I was hoping he was gonna be here for Dairy Queen. And sometimes you get to do some fun, because when you guys know the business, 95% of what we do is just shoot it on light, clip it out.
Right.
But every once in a while, you get to do something kind of fun and colorful. And, this was going back when we redid all the Dairy Queen food. That was sexy.
Looks a lot better than their food. Yeah.
It took about 2 hours to make these
Yeah.
things. So,
Oh, yeah.
this is me cooking at home, just,
I love that.
I should have brought pizza. Just trying to learn different, mainly cooking techniques, but then lighting too, and steam, I just like to play, so I find myself not doing as much of it. This was for a new online beef company, a 1911 beef company that we just did a few weeks back, so not too long ago. If you're a carnivore. Central Market muffins. So, and then, the food stuff led me into beverage photography, which I enjoy it. I probably do it all completely wrong. I got my system and how many layers, this shot was probably 20 layers. And the splash shots like this one, how many times I get in on the computer and I'm working on it, I go, I need more. And it's all physical, it's all practical splashes. I'm not using filters, brushes. So I go in there and drop the ice cube in there a few more times with the olive, and I get the ones I need and put them in there. But yeah, people watch me do beverage shots, they shake their head and go, what the hell is this guy doing? But I have my system that works. Usually takes a couple of beers on the computer later. Now this one, Jerry, is there a way to make this move?
Yeah, if you push the button one more time.
Okay, so this one, you can watch the
Oh, nice.
So I was playing with still frame animation. And now, unfortunately, with the new Photoshop stuff, I can't get it to work anymore. But this was all day. Each time I did it, I have to clean the bottle, start all over, and do the drips. And there's me with the glycerin, and that's like, but finally, after about the 7th time I did the bottle, and I got it, it's just like, fine. But when you do stuff like this, you just keep doing it, and when I see that, well, I kind of like that. I think it's fun look. So when all the drips kind of just end in the right spot, anyway, that was fun to do. So. More drinks. Yada, yada, yada. For a while, I was doing all these old-fashioned shots, and then a good friend and creative director, friend of mine, Amber Brown, I was working on one, she goes, I think you've done enough old-fashioned. Move on to something else. So, this was one of my last ones. Okay, another fun drink shot. So, along with, where are we? Okay, so, when people would always ask, what do you like to shoot the most? I would say food and industrial. So, I say, whoops, no, one more drink shot, sorry. Sorry. That was all lit by God.
That was amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Sunlight coming through a skylight, through some leaves to the glass I had set up that I saw the next morning. And so then the next day I did the shot. So just nuts, just absolutely nuts. So besides food and industrial work, I love it. It's about the texture and the color. And the light, I'm probably less a photographer than I am more. I'm more of a lighter of things, is the way I like to look at it. Not technical whatsoever. I can't tell you how my camera works. I've read about 2 pages of my manual, but the camera manual, I use it like an old school, just f-stops and shutter speeds, and just go from there, and I bracket, except for on this kind of stuff. But anyway. So the food and, to me, industrial work go hand in hand, light, direction, texture, just, I don't know, maybe I'm a little off, but to me it's very similar. And again, like the girl at the tombstone, this guy did not want his picture taken. This was Burlington Northern up in Memphis. And we were at this huge, it's like the size of a football field. It was covered, but that's where they pulled the trains into work on. And this guy was standing there. It's like, I told my assistant and the client, I said, oh, don't move. And I got the one shot and he did this and kind of walked away. This one I was told not to take. So I did. And how do you not, right? With all the steam and this was a fun one for, oh God, I forgot who the client was. Wilbanks, I think, Wilbanks Metals. Anyway, he was just a worker there, what a great face.
Yeah.
This was again at Burlington in Memphis. This guy was resting on his. You guys getting bored yet?
No.
What's next? Oh yeah, this was another one for wall stickies that we did. Cold as can be, muddy, but all worthwhile when you get done. So, and this is Ishmael. I just photographed the city manager, the new city manager for Grand Prairie. And we had to shoot a couple locations. One was a construction site, and we were wrapping up, and he's watching. As I'm walking, he goes, "Who's that guy?" I said, "That's the city manager. Can I get a picture with him?" I said, "Only if I can get your picture." So, which years ago I would never have done, but as you get older, they give that effect. But I mean, I know, like, what a great, I love finding faces like this, and that's just, I still have that passion, thankfully, at my age, to still love what I do. I don't know if I've even looked at my notes at all. I'm just rambling. Okay, so this series was fun. We're going to end it back on the F off Geno series. This was the first one. This lady who reminded me of Debbie Reynolds, if you're old enough to know who Debbie Reynolds was. We were shooting for, I believe it was Choctaw Casinos for Concussion. Sweetest lady. And when I saw her face, I just had this thing. I just want her to flip me off. Because she had the feather bow, and she just. So in getting to know her and flirting a little bit, and it's like, so I said, I got this idea. I want a cigarette with a long ash on it. She did it. Then she said, I just quit smoking 4 months ago. Terrible. But anyway, so she was gracious enough to do it. So after that, I kind of started a series, and these other people are not here to defend themselves, so that's why I'm showing them. So this was a friend, because I would just, like Jerry, he volunteered to do one. But we should do a group one right now. So this lady, she was the wife of a buddy of mine, and I said, I got an idea about like a birthday cake in a trailer house, because I had this bad paneling at the studio, and you're biting a big piece of cake, and the candles are still lit, which I photoshopped in. So that's her, and just thought it was kind of fun and silly. This was back when I first tried HDR horribly, so don't do that anymore. And this one is my dear creative director friend. I had just been to Vegas, and my brother-in-law lived. Have you seen The Hangover? You know the scene where the guy jumps out of the trunk of the car and they're by the old hotel? He lived right next door to that hotel. So I had the pictures of the sign and all that, and I had this idea for a hooker flipping me off. So Amber comes in, and I go, I didn't really know her that well. I went, are those real tattoos? She goes, oh my God, no. So anyway, the whole gist was, I'm handing her like $1.37 and an old piece of gum for her services, and she's flipping me off. But the whole series, we shot and shot and shot, and I just kept going, just not getting this. And I said, okay, Amber, and I hated to ask, because asking a friend, just grab your boob and flip me. She literally rolled her eyes, and she goes, only because you donate so many prints to my different causes. She gave me one take. So, now we're going to end it on, this is a series it's called 3. A buddy of mine said, you got to name that 3. Again, just trying to come up, I had a box of Tootsie Pops at the studio, and I went, what can I do with this? So, but I thought when I have a big print of this in my living room, it would be kind of fun to end it with, everybody gets a Tootsie Pop. And then you're going to do your own little version and tag me on Facebook. Do your 3, and then, wouldn't that be fun? Yeah. Well, for me it would be. So,